Hello and welcome to Tabletop 24. I'm Alan.
I'm John.
I'm Brian.
And welcome to another episode of We'll Play Again, where we take a look at games we've recently got to the table with a view of how quickly we can get them back to the table. With ever-growing collections, time can be precious, so we ask the question of, would we play again? Today we have CoraQuest from Bright Eye Games. In CoraQuest, we are going to be playing a budding group of adventurers that are going to be delving into dungeons in one of 10 quests, whereby we have the option to move about in the dungeon. And if we get to the edge of the dungeon, we have the option to reveal tiles, where we may find the option to loot. We may find just general passageways. We may find monsters that will be spawning. So here we're going to have two of these orcs drop in with some more guarding some loot. Or we will find tiles that will be advancing the story. We can search those chests. We might be able to swap some equipment with our companions. We can potentially revive stunned comrades. Or we can attack these monsters or villains that are in the dungeon by using our weapon plus our base stat, using these lovely dice here. And if for what reason we run a blank, we can then become determined, which enables us to roll extra dice on our next roll, so thereby being stronger. And if we were then to hit, we then go back to our normal side and we continue as we go through. The idea being is that we're going to explore that dungeon, try and survive these monsters that are coming through, and then advance the story to a point of which we reach a conclusion of the quest. Get to do 2 of those actions a turn. The reveal action or use action is free, and play keeps going around, and we determine the order of which we're going to play, and we're going to go through this. Obviously, the first thing to probably say about this is we are not the target audience for this. It's quite clear, but we've had a bit of a good time playing it.
It's my first dungeon crawler, and it's very cute. It's very nice. You're working together as a team. You're deciding which player's going to go first, and they can change that from round to round. There's an option for it's a 4-player game, but if you want a 5th player, the 5th player can play the monsters. Otherwise, the players collectively decide where the monsters are going to go, who they're going to attack, and what they're going to do it in. So it's quite a nice, simple game. It's a very small deck size. You're burning through the deck. You're in this adventure, for example, you're trying to find some of your companions who have been lost in the dungeon, and they're being held prisoner by Slithers McBiscuit the Snake, and you've got to find him and rescue your companions. But there's 10 quests in the base game.
Yeah.
And I'm encouraged to make up your own quests and make it better.
Yeah, there's a raft of tools for character creation available from Dan and Cora. So I think I am the target audience, mainly because of the family nature of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my son's 15, he's banging to D&D, he loves it. My daughter's 11, desperate to play it after watching Stranger Things and wants to be part of the Hellfire Club. I think D&D might be a bit brutal for an 11-year-old in its nature. So I knew of this game and I picked it up specifically so we could play it with the family, and Hannah could take part and join in and have a go at adventuring. And for that reason alone, it hits the nail on the head. Absolutely. You're questing through the dungeon, you're fighting monsters, you're picking up treasure. The board's always different. You can make it longer by including the number of cards between the story cards and the other cards. It works so well. The chunky dice are excellent. But yeah, for a family who wants their kids to get experience of a role-playing game without Dungeons and Dragons and without that heavy rule set, it's absolutely perfect. Really, really is. It's beautifully designed and it plays really well. It can, when you've got a lot of monsters on there, it can become a bit confusing who's been and who hasn't.
Yeah.
So the only thing I'd say it lacks is an initiative tracker. But apart from that's why you might need a 5th person to possibly just play the monsters so you know exactly what's going on.
Yep.
But it's hilarious playing this. My kids, they just want the treasure. They'll leave me and Caroline to fight the monsters while they just loot the treasure. That's generally how it goes.
Sounds like a solid plan to me.
Yeah, and I did say in unboxing of this, it does turn kids into ravenous monsters. It really does.
There's a bit of a Jeopardy element as well. If you just don't explore, if you're too busy finding treasure, then you get these little spiders appearing that are more, to give you more hazards. I like the fact that there's lots of different types of characters you can have. It's very colourful. Famously, the artwork was inspired by children's drawings. They've been picked up and made by professional artists, and it evolved into a representation of that picture. So it's a lovely theme.
There's a lot of game in the box for the size of the box. When you consider, how big the dungeon gets and the different replayability in the dungeons, and the amount of monsters, the amount of characters, the amount of cards that you get, the quests and stuff. There's a lot of game in a little box. I do think it's and
it's proof that not every dungeon crawl needs plastic.
Yeah. These are lovely little standees.
Yeah,
they're beautiful. They're double-sided, so that's quite nice. Doesn't need to be.
Yeah, again, families are not necessarily going to be interested in hordes of plastic hogging the dining room table.
No, and
it's a lovely small box.
Yeah, one less thing to paint.
Yeah, definitely, there's definitely that. I think we obviously just touch back on the origins of the game. So we've mentioned Dan and Cora Hughes, who designed this, father-daughter, and they were doing this as a lockdown project for school, and it just grew legs. So Dan's quite well known in the hobby gaming industry, and it just grew legs. And then he was like, "Oh, well, let's kickstart it," and it just grew and grew from there. And one of the sort of bits that was possible in the campaign were for people to submit drawings and characters that would make it into the final edition. And as Brian said, their drawings would then get sort of brought to life by Gary King, the artist, and they just take what the base drawing that was had and then bring out more from it to sort of match the overall theme of the game. And I think that's done really well, and I think it's a real community piece. And like John said, there's a lot of sort of creation tools out there, so map creation, character creation, item creation, really allowing kids' minds to just flow with it. Whatever they want, they can have.
It makes it their game. It makes them part of it. And a big thing about Dungeons and Dragons is the homebrew, the creation and what you bring to the storytelling. And the same is with this, that the kids make up their own stories. Yes, it's about rescuing the two gnomes from Slither's Biscuit, but they're telling the story of going through the dungeon to get them. I love role playing games, and I love that Hannah buys into this so much. I really do. It's a lovely little thing.
And I think that just overall the mechanics are so simplistic but so varied. And I mean, I've played quite a few of the big box role playing games, Massive Darkness, Descent, CoraQuest, those types of things, and actually Zombicide, these very much offer the same bits. There's obviously a bit extra components in there, there's different mechanics, but it's very much a stripped down version of those. And I think even what I said at the start, we're not the target audience, but actually I enjoyed this. And
I loved it. I mean, I love the fact that you can make a new dungeon every time, and it's not the same thing. I'd be getting all the cards together and making a massive dungeon.
Yeah,
and I'm sure kids will do that, very quickly. Don't need to follow the quests that are in the book.
But you can write your own ones.
You should do it, aren't you?
Yeah. And that's the thing. That's the beautiful role playing games in general, is that you can make your own stuff up as you're going along, and bring it to life. The one thing that I'll point out is the nature. If you miss when you attack, you become determined, and I love the fact that you become more determined to
it makes it easier to so you never get that frustration of it's not working for us. So it makes it
but it
clever.
sort of says message to the kids: keep going, be determined. Just keep going, and it's just a simple flick of a card, but it's just such a lovely little thing. It's just it's.
Or you me and rolling 3 dice and still hitting blanks.
You didn't hit anything, did you?
No, I didn't. So I think that there is that bit there. It's still dice based luck. I think the averages on the dice. So the white dice is 2 and 6, and the red dice is 3 and 6. So they're all right. It's not. You're not overly weighted to the point of this is too easy.
No.
You're still going to miss. You're still going to become determined.
The monsters do have a harder side as well. So you can play them easy or you can play them difficult. So, there's different threat levels there. And I dare say, as my family works through this book towards the end, I will personally start making it a bit more difficult so that, you know, it does become a bit more of a challenge. Yes, it is a simplistic, kiddie-looking game, but it's not, you know, you do take damage. There is a threat of, you know, one of the win conditions for everything. If one person goes out, you lose. So
everyone loses.
So yeah, you win or lose together. So that cooperative element is pushed through in it really well.
Yeah. So with that all being said, then John.
Yeah,
play again?
well, I'll be playing this on Friday. Friday night is our CoraQuest night. So we played like 4 of the quests, and we'll play another one, and we'll keep playing. Charlie and Hannah absolutely love it. Caroline likes it. And it's nice as a family. We're sitting down, we're playing a game, we're playing an adventure. You know, the storytelling's there. It's great. Yeah.
Right.
I would play it again. I'm a sucker for D&D. I love Dungeon Crawlers. Yeah, I love it. Play it again.
And for me, I'd play again. It's nice. It's not quite got the full depth of something that I'd probably look for myself, but it's just charming. Yeah. And I think that's the bit. It's so nice to have all these bits and pieces, and it's not heavy in that sense because there's no overhead.
There's no overhead. It's quick, and yeah, it's just nice.
Yeah. They have just kickstarted an expansion for it, so there's more tiles, and also there's an element of character development, so you can keep the same characters and you level them up as you go. And you
Legacy
get
version.
Yeah,
now you're talking.
Yeah, so it's a little bit more down that road. So, but yeah, I've backed it. I can't wait for it to come.
So thanks for watching along with that. Hope you've found that quite interesting. If you haven't done so already, please check out our other videos on the channel. Give us a like and a subscribe. We'll catch you next time. Thank you.
Cheerio.
Bye.